Welcome back to WRPL. It's the podcast where we talk about all the things we are watching, reading, playing, and listening to. My name's Ben.
And I'm Steve.
How's it going, Steve?
Doing okay, Ben. Doing okay. It's week 3 of my fantasy football league,
Oh,
and
yeah, how's it going?
I'm 2-0 right now, and my team did okay.
Okay.
I'm playing the guy who's in last place, and I thought easy win. It's not. There's some games tomorrow that if his last 2 players do well, he could beat me. It's not far off, so it might be my first loss this week.
Do you have, the Dolphins?
Oh, you saw that?
I saw they won, it was like 70 to something.
70-20, yeah.
That's nuts.
I have their star player, which thank God he was on my team
Uh-huh.
because he's the only reason I'm still in the running. But yeah, I have one member of the Dolphins team, yeah. So I looked up. The record for most points scored by a team in a single game is 72. So they were just 2 points behind the all-time record, which was set in 1966.
Really?
Yep.
There's never been 100 points in a football game?
Apparently not. I mean, they're combined. The highest combined score is that game, which the other team had 40 points.
Okay.
Or 43, so it was 113.
Oh, okay. 113.
Total.
Okay.
So that was the highest scoring game. This wasn't, but it was second, I believe, highest scoring single team game of all time.
Cool. Well, let's roll. 4.
4. Ooh.
Oh my god. Well, I'm going to be talking about Expendables 4, so that must be what it's from.
Yes. Let's go with that. 17.
Oh my god, Steve, you're just so good. You just have all this extra practice.
Yeah.
With it.
You gotta hop in the games, man.
Yeah. Real quick, Regal doesn't have their movie quotes at the beginning of the movies anymore. R.I.P. We
were just complaining about this.
Don't worry, they didn't put anything too awful in, but the roller coaster is back. But they put. I say the roller coaster is back. The roller
coaster's now saying the movie quotes?
No. They took the 2 main trolls from Trolls and put them in. And they're just going, hey, look at that. Drink. Ooh, hey, popcorn. Hey. It's really unfunny. You think they'd be doing some real zany stuff. But I think that is a good idea. Putting a character in the roller coaster and let them experience the things. I want to see the little dude from Saw. The little puppet from Saw riding the roller coaster when that comes out. I bet we'll see Paw Patrol or something like that. They'll probably stick to animated things since the roller coaster is animated. But no, I want everyone in it.
Yeah, imagine if Harry Potter was still coming out, and then you'd have Harry Potter, and he's just shooting magic spells out of the roller coaster at Dementors.
It looks like a broom stick at the front.
That could be
change it up. Yeah. But speaking
that
of,
would cost a lot of money to animate that stuff all the time.
Nah. I think it would be fine. But speaking of the little dude from Saw, did you see that they did a parody of the AMC Nicole Kidman intro with the Saw guy?
No.
Same exact shots, but he's saying more Saw-like quotes. And AMC had a hissy fit. And they said, if you want us to still have a relationship with this studio, you're going to take that off the internet. And so Lionsgate took it off their main page. I'm sure it's been copied and ripped and everything, but they were not pleased with that. I think it's all in good fun. Anywho.
I mean, I feel like the sort of backlash for that was bad enough. I mean, I guess there's no such thing as bad press. You're still going to go to AMC because it's where you're going to go to see movies, if that's the thing in your area.
I don't think a ton of people have true brand loyalty. Not a lot of people have the option of having 2 different brands so close that you can choose. I think people just go wherever's closest.
Yep.
Today's main topic is No One Will Save You, Hulu's latest non-theatrical release that probably could have been a theatrical release. I can't. Well, I mean, we'll get into it, but I'm calling it this year's Prey. Okay. Last year they had a really great movie with Prey that shocked everybody. That it absolutely could have been a theatrical release blockbuster, and this couldn't have been too expensive. They probably should have put this in theaters. Yeah. I mean, maybe you wouldn't see it. But I definitely would have.
I mean, as someone who holds the Unlimited Pass, I may have seen it because I think the trailer was interesting enough. I think the problem is this is a movie with essentially 0 star power, And
yes, you may go, oh, that's that one girl that people wanted for The Last of Us.
Other than the fact that it's kind of set up, the trailer makes it a horror film. There really isn't much to pull you in.
I was pulled in. I was intrigued.
That's because we're film fans.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying, are people over the age of 40 necessarily going to be excited about that movie? Maybe not. Do the young people care about Caitlin Dever that much?
No,
I don't know.
It's a scary movie on a weekend. That's what they go to.
Sure.
They saw all the conspiracy for the devil or whatever the fuck those movies were called.
Yeah, but I feel like monsters and demons and that kind of stuff is an easier sell than just aliens.
Sure.
And like I said, it's, well, whatever.
We're not there yet. We
got to talk about other stuff.
We have other stuff. I'll start. I watched the first episode of The Continental from the world of John Wick.
I'm sorry?
No, it's awesome.
Really?
That first episode was great. It's only 3. It's only a small miniseries event, and that's it.
Oh, it's only 3 episodes?
Just 3 episodes, and it's
wow.
done. And not to talk down on the other thing I'm going to talk about later, but there's better action in the first 10 minutes of this episode than all of Expendables. And I'd say all 4 Expendables. But it's really kind of fun. You have Winston is our lead. He was played by Ian McShane in the movies. He's a young dude. His older brother kind of always kept him out of trouble, took the falls, allowed him to live a better life. But he is still kind of a con man. He's good at getting people's money. You're introduced to him kind of getting people to invest in a thing. I'm not 100% sure if it's a scam or not, or if he is like just a legitimate businessman, but he always talks about his fancy clothes. Like, you got to keep up appearances. So, the older brother has stolen something from the Continental. It's being run by Mel Gibson, who I don't think I knew he was in the show.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah, and it was just like, oh shit, Mel Gibson's in this. He gives it a little bit of pedigree. I mean, depending on how much you like Mel Gibson and all of his antics.
I like the stuff he directs.
Yeah, absolutely. And they have like a fun heist where they take a rope down into the subway and it goes all the way up through the Continental and hook it onto a safe, and then like let the subway catch it by a hook and then pull the safe like through a bunch of floors, or at least the lid off of the safe. It's pretty fun. But it's a coin press, the coin stamping machine. He stole it, and so now like people are after him, and so Mel Gibson brings his brother from London, and it's like, you gotta help him or I'm gonna fuck up your life. And so now it's 2 brothers, trying to fight for their life, and what's his name? Chevron? Is that what his name was?
Charon?
Charon, something like that. Yeah, he's in it too, but he's like a younger teenage kid. He's Mel Gibson's assistant. I'm not sure who that actor is, but he's kind of nailing it. Everybody's doing a pretty good job, and it's just kind of interesting, and it piqued my interest a lot more than I expected it to.
Well, good. I heard it wasn't great.
Oh, really?
I saw like one review that just said it's completely mediocre and doesn't add anything, whatever it was. But I didn't get too much into it. But cool. I'm glad you like it. I mean, big fan of the films.
Yeah, and if I know...
From the little I saw, I was like, oh, this just seems like a cash grab to get some hook people in with IP. Because it's on Peacock, right?
It's on Peacock, yeah.
Ugh, gross. That's still a thing?
Yeah, but hey, Peacock also had Twisted Metal. Twisted Metal was fun. You never know what you're going to get with some of those odd ones. Before we go into what you have, I got a can of Liquid Death, a thing that we were very confused on because it looks like alcohol, but apparently is just water.
Water in a can.
Water in a can, which I love. When I drink a soda, I fill my can up at my water fountain, my water dispenser. What are those called? Water cooler.
Yeah.
And it tastes better. Water in a metal can just tastes amazing.
I feel like most things in a can taste better. I don't know.
I mean, I've never had like milk in a can. Have
I?
Maybe. Probably not.
I better be slamming though.
No, it's milk. So yeah, I got a can. You want to give it a try? I'll let you take first drink, because this is the regular, not the sparkling, and we'll see. Just, is it special or is it just water?
Yeah, It's a no for me, dog.
Okay. Yep, that's water. It's not gross. It's not like a Dasani or something like that. But
it's water.
Okay, so there's this TikTok page I follow. He takes unhealthy things and does a rebranding to make them look and sound healthy, but without lying. Just, this Reese's Peanut Butter Cup. It'll say, like, packed with protein, how many grams, and people go, oh, wow, look at that. It's like, well, yeah, but it also has all this sugar. We're not mentioning that. And so he's really great at making Coca-Cola look like a healthy alternative. I put in my request for Cinnabon, because how do you take the thing that is considered one of the worst things for you and turn it into a quote-unquote health food? But this feels like the reverse of it. Someone said, we want to sell water in a can. How easy. Let's sell a bunch of suckers. But how do we make it cool? Oh, we put an Old English text on it. We make it look kind of tattoo-esque. Make it look like an alcoholic seltzer or something. And then just sell it to all the influencers and all the people who can waste money on it was $2 for 17 ounces of water. So you sell it to all the suckers, they drink it on their podcasts and stuff, and now it looks amazing.
Yeah, because that's the weird thing about it. I'd never heard of it, and I've seen it for years, I feel like, at this point. But, like, it was on a bunch of videos of podcasts or comedians would have it on stage with them. It just seems like somebody in the marketing department really got everyone into it, or it's just a thing that took off in LA or something like that, and then it just blossomed from there because enough, famous people had them just poking out in blatant product placement, and I'm glad we tried it, but it is just water.
It is just water.
Now, if you were to pitch me, well, the great thing about it is we always have these water bottles, and then you just all this plastic, we just throw it away, and then it ends up in the ocean or whatever. With the can, you can crunch it and reduce what I don't know.
It is an easier thing to recycle, I believe.
And yeah, it definitely feels kind of like a bro thing of just, hey man, everyone thinks like water's bad, blah blah blah, but we want to hydrate the world. But how do we do it? You got to make it cool.
Yep.
And then they just
put a melting skull and call it liquid death.
Oh yeah, people love death.
Isn't it funny? Because like water is life giving, but we're calling it death. It's yeah. So you go, Steve.
All right. So I kind of listened to a thing. So my wife is a fan of NSYNC, as many people from our generation were. And they've been in the news a lot lately. They did a Hot Ones together.
Yeah, I didn't watch it.
So she was excited to watch she's not really a Hot Ones person, but she was like, oh, they're on Hot Ones, I'll watch Hot Ones. And I watch Hot Ones. So anyway, we watched this, and I was like, that was fun. And they talked about one of the final questions, like, all right, if there was a NSYNC Mount Rushmore of songs, what would you choose? And most of them were just like the super popular ones, like Tearing Up My Heart and
Bye Bye Bye
Pop and Bye Bye Bye. But they mentioned a song called She Should Have Known or whatever, and I was like, what's that song? I don't know, because I was more of a Backstreet Boys kid than an NSYNC kid.
Okay.
So I listened to that song, and it's kind of just like a slow a cappella song, but I really liked it.
Okay.
Yeah. Because
did they have like a music video for it? Was it one of their singles? Okay.
I mean, there's videos of them performing it live,
but it wasn't an official single.
But it wasn't like the big seller of. It was the Bye 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 album, so of course, like that's where a ton of their hits came from. But anyway, so I recommend that song if you're a fan of NSYNC and you haven't heard it, or if you're just
what was it called again?
She Should Have Known.
She Should Have Known.
I think I can double check that, but. I like that, and I've just been hearing NSYNC a lot lately, and sometimes just I was like, man, there's a reason these songs are still so popular, and then other times I listen, it's like, oh man, some of these are just like really cheesy pop songs. Like if these songs came out today, I think they wouldn't be received that well.
No, we have different sensibilities in music, though.
But there is a nostalgia aspect to it. I'm like, oh yeah, I do remember liking some of the songs, and you've just heard it for the past 20 years. Yeah. Because it'll just pop up randomly as you're walking through Target or whatever, and it doesn't bother you. But once you just sit down and listen to it, it's like half the time, like, oh wow, NSYNC is good. The other half, I'm like, I don't give a shit about NSYNC, but that's what I listen to. It's just a rehash of my youth in the boy band era. So yeah.
Did you see? There's this guy complaining. He was eating at a sushi place, and so he's recording himself and like, ugh, they play rap here. I'm never going to eat here again. He's just being a real stupid son of a bitch. But it was just Justin Timberlake was the song. It wasn't even like rap. That's funny.
Oh, that's the other thing is watching some of this NSYNC stuff on YouTube. The fashion choices of the early
Yeah.
2000s were
Yeah.
atrocious. Oh
Yeah.
boy, it was rough.
Especially in like rap and hip hop, like looking at Puff Daddy and stuff and all the things they would wear. Missy Elliott. I know hers was it was kind of like a Lady Gaga performance sort of thing, but you look at any videos and how slick things were and how big and no shirts with big billowy dress shirts on. It's awful, terrible choices. But and in 20 years we'll look back to now and say the same
Oh
exact
yeah, I'm
thing.
sure there's some god awful fashion choices.
Because I looked through my yearbook, a couple years after, and like, you're not going to be able to make fun of this.
Yeah.
Everyone's hair looks normal. It's not weird, but you look through it now and like, oh, it really was weird. What? Why is everything in the past always so fucking ugly, except for in the now? Like right now, I see plenty of fashion and it looks just fine. But in 20 years, it's gonna be the ugliest fucking thing, and we'll be like, how were we so blind?
Yeah. The name of the song is "I Thought She Knew."
I thought she knew.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, fashion's crazy. It's a wild thing.
Yeah. So back to me again.
Back to you again.
Okay,
Yeah, I'm
cool.
done.
So Ahsoka has had its episode 6. I'm not going to talk about Walking Dead because there's really nothing to talk about.
Sure, zombies.
He got to use a flail like on a chain, and he was bashing some zombies with that.
Cool.
There was like a castle with a moat, and the moat was filled with zombies.
Dope.
So it was pretty cool, but there's nothing of note to talk about.
Before you start with your thing,
Yeah.
have you seen? I was scrolling through YouTube Shorts or Instagram Short, whatever the fuck it was.
Just like scrolling. It could be
yeah.
anything. I was scrolling.
I was scrolling, and I saw this guy do an impression of it's like how normal people open a door, and it was just him opening the door.
Oh, how Daryl Dixon
and
does?
just this weird.
Yeah, it's like he's a vampire floating animation, and just like
or Captain Jack Sparrow,
Yes.
or some sort of opening video game motion thing before like the fight starts.
Yeah.
It's kind of like that. I had no context of that, but it just made me laugh.
But it's very funny.
Yeah.
He's a little extreme. I think he's taken a little far with every sketch he does, but he looks like him, and it's kind of the era when Rick was gone that he's imitating the most, I think, because he kind of stepped up and was the lead. But yeah, I love that shit.
Okay.
It's very funny. But Ahsoka, episode 6 came out. Only 2 more. It's great. It's so much fun. Depending on how these last 2 go, I'm probably going to watch Clone Wars. Just to catch up and just to kind of see.
The show, not the movie.
Well, I'll watch the movie first because that is the first appearance of her.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Anywho, I mean, I tried to do it like 2 years ago. It's the worst. It truly, truly is. I say Rogue One is, but it is Clone Wars, the movie. Anywho, I don't know if Dave Filoni had anything to do with it by then. I think maybe he saw that and went, ooh, I can do that better. But anyhow. Cool things in the episode. So they go to this planet where Thrawn is and Ezra, and this is where the crazy space whales go to die. And this planet has a ring.
Have I seen space whales before?
Not unless you've watched Ahsoka or Clone Wars. But that's how they got rid of Thrawn and Ezra at the end, like pushed them into their path and they warped them away or inside away. I'm not 100% sure how it happened, but
the space Moby Dicked him?
The space whales transported him across.
Or Pinocchio, I mean?
Yes, Pinocchio.
Yeah.
And this is like so far away that their normal ships can't even like light speed to them. They're so far out of their reach. So that's kind of been part of the plot of this one is the bad guys want to get Thrawn to start the Empire again. The good guys want to get Ezra because they're friends. And Ahsoka would not risk letting the bad guys get to it, so she's allowing Ezra to just be gone forever because they don't know if he's even alive. It's been 6 or 8 years or something. They've had no contact. They have no idea if he's alive. But Sabine, the one who I couldn't remember her name, the one who keeps ruining everything, she's the one that gave up the map so she can meet him again.
Of course.
Anyhow. So these space whales, which Ahsoka and
Why is it
her
always fucking space
I
whales?
know. So Futurama did it.
There's always flying giant whales. There was one in an episode of Solar Opposites I watched recently. Yeah. Anyway, go ahead. Sorry.
Ahsoka and her droid are like in their ship in the mouth of a whale as they're gonna go. So that's kind of cool. And the robot is telling her stories and of the universe's past. And she's like, "Oh, tell me one of those. You pick." And he says, "A long time ago in a galaxy far, far away."
I roll.
So now
it's just a story of it was just Taxi Driver or something. He's just telling stories of movies from Earth.
Actually, that would be the future. He can't tell the future because it is a long time ago.
Okay.
So now the
flat circle.
The fan canon is that he's the one that's kind of does the intro crawls to all the movies narrating them. It works. It's a very nice moment.
Hate Star Wars.
It's a good little moment. But the cool thing about this planet, it has a ring on it. And since that's where the whales go to die, it's their floating corpses. It's all their bone and flesh just rotting away, and that's what makes up the ring of the planet. That's cool as fuck. So they get there, Thrawn's there. They go, yeah, Sabine, you could go find him. We don't know where he is. He's probably dead, but here, take a wild dog crocodile horse and go find him. And then, of course...
You realize the sentences you're saying to me today
don't make a whole lot of sense. Yeah, it's fine. But then they're like, yeah, we kept our promise, but go kill her anyways. Thrawn looks great. It's Lars Mikkelsen.
Is he brothers to Mads Mikkelsen?
He's Mads Mikkelsen's brother. He did the voice in Clone Wars, and now he's doing the live action as well.
Oh, wow,
they said it would have been too hard to find someone who could really capture that voice, so just do it. He's a little pudgy for it. Like Thrawn is like very svelte, and in this it looks like he I've been on the outer reach of the solar system for years now. I kind of let a little tummy get to me. But he is more menacing than fucking Giancarlo Esposito's Moff Gideon. Moff Gideon is like a fanboy beta wimp. He's kind of a dork compared to this guy. And he hasn't really done anything, but he's just very, very menacing. Could be the red eyes, could be the blue face, but he's pretty scary. And all the stormtroopers, they've been there for a while. All their armor's all cracked. But you know that meaning of repairing like old china where put gold in so their armor has like cracks.
Kitsunugi or something
like that. Something like that. So they have it on their faces and on their armor. It looks pretty great. And then like Ezra, she finds Ezra and he was like making friends with a bunch of, they look like frogs, but like cricket faces. They look like little Kermit the Frog.
Ben, shut the fuck up.
But with like slug eyes, and they have like rocks on their back, and he's been like just hanging out with these rock slug people.
I would just love it if they went to a planet of Muppets. That'd be awesome.
Yeah. And it's I don't know. It was really fun. Good lightsaber stuff, but I didn't even really want to talk about the episode. But I think the new future of Star Wars is not going to be... Well, what happened to Rey? I know they were talking about doing like an old lady Rey. She's 30 years older. She's teaching the younglings and starting the new Jedi Order. Okay, fine. We can do that. Because I was always very big on let's get out of the Skywalker era completely. So that's good because that keeps furthering the stories. But I think what they're going to do is... This is now the story. This arc with Thrawn, with Sabine, with Ahsoka. This is going to be the new starting point to lead us up to the beginning of the First Order. Because when you watch Force Awakens, First Order is just there. It's like, oh, the Empire's back somehow, some way, and then they have like all this tech. Well, how? It wasn't fucking Donald Gleason, that little sniveling worm. He couldn't have done it. So someone like Thrawn, who has the know-how and the passion to do it, would make sense to get to that point. So I think this is going to be Disney fixing their mistakes, trying to catch up to the sequel trilogy and make it make sense. Kind of what Dave Filoni has done in Clone Wars and stuff to make some of the holes of the prequels make sense and fill in some of those gaps and made them people more appreciative of the prequels. So I think we're going to be working on a little more information on how did the Emperor come back? How did that ancient Sith knife have the perfect coordinates to line up with the Death Star, things like that. I think they're going to do the work and get us there. And I'm all for it. I think it'll be really fun seeing Luke training young Kylo Ren, or even maybe a couple of peoples before that. And I'm going to guarantee in the next 10 years, we're going to have a conversation. It's either old Luke, played by Mark Hamill, maybe before he ran into Rey, or de-aged deepfake Luke from Mandalorian, is going to have a conversation and then probably lightsaber fight with Hayden Christensen's Anakin Skywalker. Those two have never really talked face to face except for the Return of the Jedi special edition.
Sure, yeah.
But that doesn't really count. That's decades apart. These people need to actually be able to act in the same room and have it make sense. And it could be Anakin telling Luke, yeah, you really gotta work and train these younglings and train my grandson and blah, blah, blah. Or maybe he's talking in his ear going, you fucking suck. My son is a bitch. My grandson's is the future, something. Or maybe that's, Kylo Ren's hearing Darth Vader talk to Luke, and that's what made him kind of get obsessed with him. Whatever. I think that's this next saga of stuff. It's going to be mostly TV show things and fixing their mistakes to make the sequel trilogy viable and worth the time. It kind of sucks that you have to, you should have done it in the first place to really plan it out, and now we have to go back and dig ourselves out of this hole. But I think they can do it. And I'm actually kind of excited for the future of Star Wars.
Cool. Retcon the show. Sounds good. 2 questions. Mm-hmm. One, what happens to Kylo Ren at the end of the last one?
He dies.
He does
die. Gives all his energy so she can heal herself because she got stabbed in the stomach or something. Oh. And then they kiss, and he releases all his Jedi goodness into her.
Wait, what was that? So they kiss, and then he expels his goodness into her.
Yep.
Yeah, I've seen that.
That's
movie.
Why she calls herself Rey Skywalker at the end. She's got so much of him in her that he's taking his last name. He's not even a Skywalker. Doesn't matter. He's a Solo.
Jesus Christ. Anyway, and we don't know how they built, because the thing in Star Wars was, oh, look, that's no moon. And then in The Force Awakens is, oh, that's no full-size planet. Mm-hmm. That is just a giant machine. Because there's no, they had the money to build it.
Apparently so. Or it's like, oh, well, we have the planet. Let's just turn it into a space station. We can't build our own, so let's just, dig a big hole into it. And I don't know how it really, truly works. I don't know how any of the tech in Star Wars works.
Yeah.
But that could be a thing, because I don't think they're bringing Thrawn back in the show. In the next 2 episodes, they kill him. That'd be ridiculous and stupid. So this is going to be our next jumping off point, and Thrawn's going to be the big baddie, but he will die before Force Awakens, and whatever Donald Gleason's character's name is, I will take up the mantle.
I think it's Colonel Hux.
Hux. Yep.
God, why do I
what
fucking
a dork,
know this?
you fucking nerd.
Jesus Christ. Talking all that shit and I know it somehow. Anyway.
Anyway, your turn.
Let's see.
Baldur's Gate?
Well, I'll save Baldur's Gate for last.
Okay.
Because I started an audiobook this week because I finished the Shattered Sea Trilogy, which I think I talked about last week. I finished it all. So I started...
You didn't talk about it last week.
Oh, I didn't?
No.
Dang. Well, I finished the Shattered Sea Trilogy. I don't know why I can't say that. Yeah, see? Book 3. Well, I finished Half a War by Joe Abercrombie, the final book in the Shattered Sea Trilogy.
All you talked about was Half a King.
Oh, okay. Well, I finished the last book. I don't know if it was because I was mostly listening to it at work or whatever. I just couldn't focus as much. And it also was, I think, a 13 to 16 hour audiobook. So there was definitely huge chunks I was missing. And there were multiple characters who had very similar names, and I forgot who was dealing with who. But what was cool about it is what I liked about the series was that each book kind of had a different main character, but all the characters from the previous books came back, and so you still had all your favorites, and they still had big parts to play, but it really wasn't their book anymore. And then obviously this one was the big war, where all of the previous people who you thought were they couldn't work together. They were enemies in previous books. They now have to band together to defeat the High King and his evil army of douchebags. And it was fun. And what was cool about it is they went and found all these elf weapons to help them defeat the guys because they couldn't defeat the High King. His army was too big and his main warrior was too good. And elf, I think I told you in half a
king.
No, half a world book 2. They found an elf weapon. It was just a gun. So elves were just us from a long time ago. So they went to this area that was forbidden because it was super dangerous. And there they found a bunch of elf weapons.
Is it like a handgun or like a rifle?
I think it was like a semi-automatic pistol.
Interesting.
So they get to this big army and they're just like, you guys are going to lose. We're too strong. And then they show up and they're like... and just mowed down a bunch of dudes. and like it just blows everyone's minds because they have never seen guns or and like just these small hand weapons that are just massacring, just mass shooting a large army, just laying waste to a bunch of people. Really so like funny. It'd be really cool to see on the big screen. I think these books are very filmable because they're very easy. It's just very much a simple medieval war story, but then you just have a little twist that, oh wait, it's actually way in the future and people have guns now.
And we were
discovered
we were the elves.
Yeah, we were the elves were destroyed because they waged a war against God. That's like their lore, and the Great Shattering or whatever, which basically I think was just climate change or nuclear war or whatever it was. And then the remaining humans just lost track of time or whatever the fuck it was, and then it just became this history of the lost civilization of elves, but really it's just
And us. Did they just look like everybody else? Or
yeah, there's not like ancient painting. I think they do discover stuff, and they're like, well, the elves looked very much like us, but they had these grand powers because they had giant skyscrapers and all this kind of stuff. They just had all these things that we can't even comprehend in our primitive brains, but really it's just they kind of went back to the Dark Ages, essentially, I guess. So I really enjoyed the series. I see why of his other books. It's sort of his forgotten trilogy, because it is kind of standard. If it wasn't for this one twist, there really wouldn't be anything all that exciting about it. But there were some fun characters. So anyway, that was that. And I'm about halfway through Ready Player One.
Oh, okay.
Which is a book I know you read, and you were not a fan of the movie.
Not a fan of the movie.
I really enjoyed the movie, but I had not read the book at the time.
Yeah. I'm not a fan of the movie because like they didn't do the book justice. Because the book is just a dude talking to himself, pretty much. It's all just in his head. There's not a ton of dialogue in it. So I understand.
Good amount of dialogue in it.
It's mostly him describing video games and TV shows.
There's a lot of pop culture reference. There's a lot of exposition to describe the world, which I'll get more into either next week or the week after when I finish it, because I don't want to say anything. But I just wanted to let you know I'm reading that book, which I know you've read.
Yeah, and I like it because it is very for me. It is my generation that he's talking about. So I didn't get every reference because some of them do go back into the 70s, but it was just kind of a joy to see someone write about something they were so passionate about, and it's something that I also enjoyed. And I really enjoyed that book the first time through, and it was such an easy read that I went through it again like a year later, and I realized, oh, there's really not much here. It is just a lot of describing in excruciating detail some random fucking level on a video game. So I'd say all in all, I don't like Ready Player One, but it is filled with stuff that I like.
Fair enough. I'll talk about it soon.
All right. Last thing. Gotta talk real quick about Expendables 4.
Okay, and then I have my last thing.
Yes. And then we'll talk about our main thing.
Yep.
Boy, this movie sucks. No surprise, all the Expendables movies suck. I think 1 and 2 are fine, but they're not special. They don't live up to their name. They're called Expendables, and no Expendables die in any of the movies. Except for The second one, Liam Hemsworth gets like a knife kicked in his chest. So that was pretty cool. But everybody else always just gets a little bit of a wound. This one, Randy Couture gets stabbed in the side, but he survives. Nobody ever dies. That should be the whole premise of these movies is you have all these great action stars from the 80s and 90s, and you kill them off. Keep some of them, that's fine. It could always be a Jason Statham and Sylvester Stallone sort of thing, but what kind of, you got some big balls if you're willing to kill off Arnold Schwarzenegger in your movie. That's cool. And then in the next one...
Especially if you think, like, oh, he'll probably not come back for the sequels. We'll just kill him off now.
Yeah, kill him off now.
Bruce Willis, he can't do movies anymore. Kill him
off. He was apparently supposed to be the bad guy in this one.
Oh, really?
And at their early stages, but they're...
I've only ever seen the first one.
Okay.
At least I think I have.
Okay.
Because I don't remember a single thing about it.
Yeah, you don't have to. It's just people shoot stuff and some celebrities show up. Oh, this is the one with Antonio Banderas. Oh, this is the one with Wesley Snipes. Oh, this is the one with Van Damme.
The first Expendables the one where Jason Statham is playing basketball or something, and then he stabs a dude through the... Like, he puts the basketball in the guy's chest, but stabs it down like he's...
I don't remember that at all. That seems like a transporter sort of thing.
Maybe. It doesn't matter.
Maybe a crank? I don't know.
Death Race.
But they should have been, every movie, whole new cast. And yeah, you may have to go younger and younger, but like there's no reason that what's his face? Ivan Drago.
Dolph Lundgren.
There's no reason Dolph Lundgren has made it through 4 of these movies. Like him, Randy Couture, Sylvester Stallone, and Jason Statham are the only 4 who have been in all 4. But it's not because, oh, they killed off Terry Crews. That sucks. Oh, they killed off Jet Li. No, they're just not in this one. They're still alive, kicking somewhere. And so, and in this one you have a bunch of new people. You got your Megan Fox, you got 50 Cent, you got some lady who is in nothing that I remember. And then the son of another guy. I think he's supposed to be the son of Antonio Banderas' character. I'm not sure. But he's just like the horny one. So he just wants to like...
So he's Antonio Banderas' son.
I mean, like, you can tell where they base it off of, but that's all his character is. And they introduce everybody just like, who's that? You don't remember hiring him? Well, here's his specialty. Oh, well, who's that? Well, this person is blah, blah, blah. And they all do it all real quick in like a matter of 5 minutes. Like, let's catch everybody up. All right, here's the news people. Now let's go. And it's just weird to have 50 Cent in this one. He's not an action guy. But
he's done a bunch of action stuff.
But he's not known for that. I would never think of him in an action role. Because
he's a big, strong guy.
He's in the Escape Plan with Sylvester Stallone, which is probably why he's in this. But he's the tech dude. So he doesn't get into any fights or anything.
No.
So, like, yeah, maybe he's in action movies, but I can't picture him doing anything. And one weird egregious thing, they're trying to like make a distraction on this boat, and they raise a forklift on a lift, and it has a stereo playing, and they're playing a 50 Cent song. So it's like, does 50 Cent exist in this world? And they go, holy shit, this new...
So it's not as part of the soundtrack, it's part of in-world...
It's in-world, playing on a jukebox.
Yeah, that's weird.
And...
But I mean, with this kind of movie, they don't care about that.
They don't care about that stuff. Yeah, it's like, I just want to get one of my songs in the movie, so I make some money off of it. But so it's 50 Cent exists in this world, and there's a guy who looks like him. I think it would have been fun. Just make this 50 Cent.
Yeah.
Have him be like, this has been my thing I've always wanted to do. I got shot so many times, I can take a bullet. He's more of an action star in real life than he's ever been in movies.
Was there a part at the end, they complete the mission, they're all laughing and, fist bumping and all that good stuff, doing the arm lock thing from Predator. Is there a part where they turn to 50 Cent's character and it's like, hey, ma'am, when we need you, where should we look for you? He's like, find me in the club. Find me in the club. And it's like, yeah. And he just walks off in the distance.
No.
Damn it.
I would not put it past him. At least that would have been...
Get me in there, coach. Put me into the fighting team.
They really need you because their jokes aren't jokes in these movies. It's always just, like, yeah, well, why don't you kiss my hairy butt? I'm like, that's not a joke. It's always like, man, you're so annoying. There's no punchline. It's just guys... having silly conversation with each other, but it doesn't feel natural at all. Let's see. I got some things. Sylvester Stallone is a real son of a bitch in this movie. He goes to a biker bar, and he loses this really gaudy skull ring in a thumb wrestling contest. And so he calls up Jason Statham. Yeah. Yeah. They even go like, you mean arm wrestling? Like, no, it was thumb wrestling. And he has to get it back.
Although I would love to see an over-the-top style movie about thumb wrestling. I think that'd be fun.
That's a good idea. So he gets Jason Statham to like get it back from these guys. And he lost to a guy named Jumbo Shrimp. And of course, he's like a real little dude. And that's the big joke. Big old GMO Sylvester Stallone lost to a little guy. So he gives Statham brass knuckles. Dude, you lost your ring in an honest bet, like in a competition, and you lost. And then you're going to have your friend like practically murder all these people with brass knuckles, which are pretty much illegal everywhere, just to get your ring back. And it's like played for laughs.
And aren't you the leader of this elite squad of killers? Just you do it.
Oh, his thing was like, I hurt my back. But he was just lying to get Statham to do it for him.
Okay.
And then, so jumping towards the end, Sylvester Stallone dies early on. And the plane crashes, and they find his like smoking corpse, and it's got the ring on. And it's, oh, God. We lost one of the great ones, and they have to kick out Statham because he tried to save Sylvester Stallone, and he didn't complete the mission. And it's like, you made his death worth nothing, and blah 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 blah. Well, he's not really dead. He's gone through the whole movie just to show up at the end and kill Andy Garcia with a big minigun and blow him apart in some really terrible CG. And it's like, well, whose corpse was that? And it turned out it was Jumbo Shrimp. He kidnapped the dude.
What?
Put him in the airplane, parachuted out, put him in the seat, and the guy wakes up. He's not even dead. He wakes up. He's got the ring on his finger, and he fucking dies in this plane crash. And then when they have their memorial for him, when they think he's dead, they have his burnt arm with the ring on display. They have part of his smoldering, crispy corpse in a bar, and they're all going, he was the man, he was my best friend. And it just turns out it was some random bar patron's arm. And like, how undignified. It's like, that's a real shitty thing to do. And I think they think this stuff is funny, and you have...
Also... I know it was burnt, and maybe you wouldn't think about it because you're too distraught because you saw the ring.
Yeah.
But, like, if they're smart enough to notice the ring, wouldn't they notice that Jumbo Shrimp is also this really tiny person?
Yeah, it's like, why is his forearm so damn small?
Like, what? Why did Stallone's corpse... Why is he 2 feet shorter?
I know. No, nobody asks.
Okay.
So, Dolph Lundgren, his whole thing is... he's wearing a bad wig because he met some girl on the internet, and she likes that look. I think it's supposed to be a joke. I can't be sure.
So it's not a bad wig for the movie. It's a bad wig his character is choosing to wear.
To wear for this person.
Okay.
Yeah. But they do comment like, your hair looks ridiculous. Why are you wearing that bad wig?
Okay, got it.
But his thing is, he's a sniper, and he's getting older. You gotta make those old jokes. And he needs to wear glasses. And he's a recovering alcoholic. He's been sober for like a year or something. And in our missions, he's trying to do stuff, and he sucks. He's not making any of his shots. And towards the end, he misses a few more, and he goes, fuck it, pulls out a flask, starts drinking again, and then starts making his shots. That's his arc. Fail being a recovering alcoholic. Slip back into your addiction because it makes you kill people better. Cool.
Like, so there's no scene at the end where you see him back in AA and a quick montage of like, this is where all the characters are heading.
No, if I could go back and look, because they celebrate in a bar at the end of all of them. I'm not sure if he's holding a beer or maybe he's holding a cup of coffee.
Liquid death, perhaps.
Yeah, maybe.
Because that'd actually be pretty funny. It's like, of course he would drink liquid death because it's the cool water.
Mm-hmm.
That would make sense. Liquid death. Expendables 5, get in there, because that's good. Easy product placement for you guys.
You think there's going to be a 5? I know they want to make 5, and Statham says he'll do them forever. It made like $3 million opening weekend, and you have something like what's the other thing that came out.
I'm not even sure if you could get Dolph Lundgren in this movie for $3 million. No, you definitely got Dolph Lundgren.
What was the fucking movie that came out? Oh, Haunting in Venice. Oh, no, it was Nun 2. Nun 2 was past $200 million in the box office.
Did it really?
And it cost like...
In America or worldwide?
That I don't know. Probably,
Okay.
so let's say worldwide. But it only cost like $40 million. Expendables cost over $100 million.
Shut the fuck up. No, it didn't.
It did.
$100 million?
$100 million, and it only made like $3 million. And they're like, yeah, we're really hoping for number 5. It ain't happening. It's 10 years too late. You squandered the idea.
I'm sure 1 made money, and I wouldn't be surprised if 2 kind of did.
Sure.
But did 3?
No. 3 was a huge bomb because it went PG-13, it wasn't bloody, and they blamed it on that. And now you can see, this was rated R, this was super bloody. Nobody gives a shit. Nobody cares about this franchise. Because if it was, you take their older characters, you take a Rambo or Cobra, you take Commando, you take John McClane, you take the more real-world versions of these action stars, you take those characters, and either, if you can use them, great, that's awesome if you can. But that's, the logistics is probably a little hard on that one. So you just make kind of parody versions of these people. So yeah, you have a guy like Cobra and a guy like Commando teaming up, starting the Expendables or whatever. They could have plays on their catchphrases. That's really fun. But you just make an action movie with just these actors, but they don't really do anything special than anybody else could do. They're all just gun or knife people. It's so fucking boring. Okay, so a couple of just things. They have these devices that are like part of a nuke. They're going to set off a nuke or whatever. But they all just look like pumpkin bombs from Spider-Man.
Nice.
They have to get off the boat real quick because in 1 minute the nuke's going to go off. But Jason Statham is able to like drop the anchor, spin the boat around. You know, someone's able to blow a hole in it, and the boat is able to sink underwater in under a minute to like kind of protect from the nuke going off. No, your ticking clock was bad. There's like a motorcycle chase on the boat. They're all like shooting. They have machine guns on their motorcycles, and they're driving around. It's silly. Like you can't have a chase like that.
Wait, how big is this boat? Is it?
It's like a big oil tanker thing. 2 things. 1, I am not here to like shame Megan Fox at all. She's not very good in this, but she's not an action person either. Yeah, she was in Transformers, but she wasn't an action star. She was just running away from explosions. They need to fire their makeup person. The first scene you see of them is her and Jason Statham fighting. Sylvester Stallone's at the door. And she comes up and she is like full makeup, full face makeup, flawless, no creases, looks beautiful. But it doesn't match anything on her neck and her chest and her shoulders. So you can see the different colors. She almost looks like 30 years older on the chest. Like, you know, when you sunburn or you tan too much and you start getting a little wrinkly and sunspotty, she has this flawless face and then just messed up chest, shoulders, and neck. It was really obvious.
Which would just be a pretty easy fix if you just threw on a sweater or something. You know, yeah, not even a sweater, just anything.
I'm thinking she had something a little more. She was wearing something that covered her up more. They did the makeup for that outfit, and they went, "Oh, you gotta see some more boobies in this. Put her in the smaller thing." And then they took it off and didn't notice it, but looks real bad. But I got to tell you my favorite thing.
Tell me your favorite thing.
Favorite thing that happens in this. I don't quite know the context, but there's a part. Jason Statham's on the boat. He's running, and he looks up to the sky. And then it's a shot from the other perspective up in the sky looking down on the boat. And it zooms out, and it's like boat pretty small in the water, see a bit more of the earth. And then it zooms out again, and a satellite dish flies by. It's kind of implied with how the shot goes that Jason Statham looked up and saw there's a satellite in space, and it gave him an idea of how to solve this nuke problem. It's comical, just the double zoom out. It's so funny. But yeah, this movie's bad. Effects are ugly. It's not funny. There's no good action. There's no good deaths. It's a waste of a concept, and they just need to stop.
Great. Yeah, that sounds pretty much exactly like what I expected, and although the element of hate watching something is tempting, I'm glad I skipped it.
You could skip this one, absolutely. All right.
My last thing, real quick, just an update. Obviously, I've been playing Baldur's Gate.
Mm-hmm.
I've had the past 4 days off, so I've been able to play a pretty good chunk of it. I'm still in Act 1, because Act 1, all these acts apparently take forever.
Yeah, I heard like Act 3 is 70 hours or something like that.
So I basically explored, after you beat the first prologue mission, which you're on this Mind Flayer ship, which I think you would really dig, just because they're squid monster people.
Nice.
And their ship is a flying squid creature. It all, that eldritch horror shit, it's all you.
That's me.
And then it crashes, then you're just in normal land.
Normal land.
And this map is pretty big. It's not Skyrim or anything where it could take you 40. You could get from one end to the other in 20 minutes or whatever, as long as you didn't run into any sort of creature.
They're not too worried about no, we want you to experience really traveling across these plains.
Yeah, you don't need a horse to travel.
Okay.
And it's nice. You find so many fast travel options. Even if you were on one end, you can teleport at any time. You don't have to be next to a teleportation thing. You can just go over pretty much any time.
I like that.
Unless you're in a specific area where fast travel isn't allowed, but you can pretty much fast travel anywhere. Cool. But anywho, once again, this game is impressive, man. It's so cool. I can't believe. And what's been nice is I'm now level 5, and once you get to level 5, combat is fucking cake. And that's kind of the hardest part. The first few hours of this game was kicking my ass, just learning the game mechanics, and I'm used to seeing barrels that are red barrels. Those are the ones you shoot, they blow up. But the red barrels, although they might have a red stripe on them, you don't kind of notice them amongst the other red barrels.
Okay.
So there's elements of times where I'm in combat, and it's not until after I defeat all the enemies in hand-to-hand combat, I could have teleported over there, or shot this thing, or hit this thing above them, and it would have came down. I'm so used to just straightforward
I gotta get to you and stab you.
Get to you and stab you. I don't think to utilize my surroundings. Yeah. But the game does a good job. I mean, most of the time you are kind of zoomed out, so it's saying, look at this map. But I'm just no, I gotta run up to this guy and hit him. But yeah, once you get to level 5, you get all sorts of spells, extra attacks, depending on your classes you keep. All the characters who I thought were going to be tedious in terms of, I got to give this guy magic items to absorb. That's going to be annoying, or this person's going to try and vampire suck my blood. All these things, they're there, but at a certain point so far, at least where I'm at in the story, they don't really affect me too much. I wish all the characters were more evenly balanced in terms of combat effectiveness, because I have my 3 that I pretty much use exclusively now, just because I have the rhythm down, I know how to best utilize them, I know the rhythms, and then sometimes I'm like, you know what, I'm going to switch it up and use these other characters. But these other characters, there's a reason I don't keep it, because they can't take fucking hits. Yeah. They're a bunch of magic abilities.
That's why you got to keep using them, so they get better.
They have all these cool magic abilities, but as soon as one person runs up to them and hits them, they're fucking worthless.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of annoying. So I just wish there was something more I could do. And maybe it's just I'm bad at using them. Because I think magic users are so fucking cool and all the spells they have. But once again, they can't take hits. And sometimes you're fighting... There's one time I fought a horde of... There was 20 goblins I had to fight. And they're all taking individual turns. Which is just all right, come on, let's speed this up. What's nice is, though, if it's a big group enough, they'll use the same turn as long as they're not attacking you at the same time. You'll just see 4 use dash at the same time, and they'll just run, and then that's the end of their turn. Oh, okay. So the computer, it's pretty impressive. The computer can go, okay, these people can't hit you right now, but all 4 of them are going to move at the same time. It's that's nice. Yeah. So right now I'm exploring the Underdark, the famous world from Dungeons & Dragons lore.
Fat Dragon World?
Yeah, Fat Dragon World. I haven't run into a fat dragon. Did run into a beholder. There was all these stone statues around. I was like, well, this can't be good. I wonder what's going on here. And then here comes this floating eyeball that shoots laser beams that turns you to stone and just disintegrates you. So I immediately died and reloaded and was like, I'll come back to you later. But I think last week I mentioned I fought the witch hag.
And a frog wouldn't give you the treasure.
Well, I fought her last week. and she whooped my ass because she duplicated herself and just shot all these powerful magic spells at me. I was like, oh, I'm just not equipped to fight this chick. But then I came back when I was level 5, and I realized, like, oh, I need to shoot the other ones because they can only take one hit before they disappear.
Okay.
And then just curb stomp this chick when all 4 of my team members just hit her at the same time. So that was nice. So I was able to defeat her actually pretty easy. Yeah, it's just been tons of fun. What else do I have to say? Highly recommend. Oh, well, I was talking about the map and how it's not that big, but then you go to the Underdark, and that map is just as big. And I think I'm going to, once I get through the Underdark, I'm going to another place that'll probably be just as big. And this is all still not, like, we're just going to different maps that are not huge, but still decently sized. And every, I don't know, 40 feet is another group of people you can interact with, and storylines you can change, and they may or may not have connections to the characters in your party, and so you want to switch out members of your party to match whatever storyline's going on there, and you can, I don't know, it's just so interesting, and I really can't describe this plot to you because there's just so many plot lines going on at the same time.
Do you find when you get to a new area and you see these huge groups of people that you can talk to that you are like, cool, I can't wait for these interactions? Or is it, I just want to continue the story. I don't want to have to talk to all you fuckers and get led down these other paths?
No, because I think what makes it work is because I mentioned, I think, last week that I usually hate long dialogue trees where it's just like the conversation never fucking ends and it's all exposition. It really isn't all that much, and all the dialogue is very quick, and you can tell it's there to lead you to a thing. So for example, I am now in the Underdark, and there's all these essentially dark dwarves. I think they're called the Druger or whatever. And they're kind of dickheads, and they're trying to get through this stone wall, and they're whipping these essentially bulls, and it's like, hey man, I can't get them through here. Why don't you whip these bulls, and if you get through here, then I'll share some of this treasure with you. And you can choose to whip the bulls, or you can choose not to and try and just be nice to them. And it's just every effect that. So it's like you could do the bad thing and you could get to your objective quick, sure. But I try and do the nice thing. So I talk to the bulls, and then they're like, okay, great. You got us through this wall. We should share the treasure with you, but now we're going to kill you because the treasure's ours. And it's like, fuck, I was trying to avoid a fight with you guys. But because I was nice to those bulls joined the fight and helped me kick these guys' asses.
Nice.
So like anything you do can affect the... So all these interactions I'm not upset about running into because they can either lead me to a cool weapon or to a cool storyline or to a cool encounter I never expected. So I never feel like it's anything tedious or it's just there to give me something to do in order to slow down my progress. Like I could just go through the story, but anytime I run into something new, I want to figure out where this goes because it could have a connection to the grander story or it could just be a fun little side mission. And even if the side mission kind of sucks, there's so much loot around that it's like, oh, now I have a +1 axe when all I had was just a normal axe or whatever it is. Like, and it's so far none of the interactions have taken, or none of the side quests. It doesn't take too long. Now you might start something and it doesn't play again later until Act 2 or 3, which I don't know that. But it's just like I paid for an artist to get him out of slavery, and he's like, I promise, it'll be worth more to you down the road. Bye! And then I don't know when he'll come back, or if that was a good thing or a bad thing, but that's kind of the exciting part is I don't know where this will go, but I know it'll pay off later.
Are there things where you talk to someone and they go, yeah, why don't you help me with this thing? And then it takes you to a completely different area, and you're like, fuck, I got to do all this back traveling to do it? Or by the time you're done with helping them, you'll be back in that area?
No, there's no, at least that I've encountered, like, follow missions. It's either, hey, I need this thing, and if you get it for me, I will make you a thing, maybe. Or it's just, hey, I have this piece of information. If you give me 50 gold, it'll be worth it to you, and I can choose to do it or not, or whatever. But there is no... I haven't done too much backtracking, but because I mentioned there's fast travel, I can just go if I need to get somewhere quick. I would say the hardest part of it, not the hardest part, but the thing that just kind of sucks is like you start a mission, it's like, oh, well, this isn't going to pay off for a long time. Well, okay, I guess, but it's never... it's all so well acted and so well constructed that it doesn't ever feel cheap or just tedious. It's all interesting.
Yeah.
If you're into this whole fantasy realm, but I've never played a game like this, and it's great.
And do you think you'll do a second playthrough?
That's the crazy part. I don't do a lot of replays on games unless it's like so great. God of War I've done a couple times.
Mm-hmm.
Last of Us I've done a couple times. But there isn't many other games other than Uncharted. I think I played each game twice.
Mm-hmm. But those are also like so much smaller games.
Yeah, those games
to do.
I can beat in 25 hours if I just do the story.
Yeah.
And even if I explore everything, that's a 40-hour game, really.
Mm-hmm.
But it's going to be 100 plus for my first playthrough. I can't imagine, especially when there's so many other fun games. I think I would put it away and maybe 2 or 3 years down the line and play it again. But like, I want to play other classes. I want to experience the story and make different choices.
I want to whip those bulls. Do you think if you whip the bulls, they would still do the same thing and the bulls would join them to fight you?
So, okay, here's the thing. I tried to talk to them and I convinced them to do the job first. And then they did it, and then they attacked me, but I wasn't ready for the fight, and then I ended up dying, so I had to reload, and so I got a second chance to do the thing again. Okay. And then when I did it better the second time, and so the bulls then joined me.
Okay.
But
so it was more because of your role, not just because you didn't whip them.
The first time I didn't whip them, they did the job, and then after it was complete, they got angry with me, and then I had to kill them. So that was the first time. Okay. And then so I killed them, and then got in a fight with the dwarves, and then I lost. All right, I'll reload, and then they joined me. So that's the other thing. I try and only do whatever the role is. I try and stick to that. I don't want to cheat and okay, I didn't like that role. I'll reload because also I don't want to reload all the time. Yeah. But at the same time, if a role gets me into a fight and I lose, I'm going to try again and get a better role. Yeah. Because I don't necessarily want to get in that fight or a fight I can't win. Mm-hmm. So there is slight cheating on my end. I try to limit it to.
You're not a real gamer.
I try and limit to as.
No, I do not blame you. I would do it the same way. Like, I need to roll well on this. Oh, I didn't? Fuck that. Let's do it again.
Oh, this is the last thing I'll say, and then we can move on. Yeah. So I was in a fight, and so your companion characters, they can die, and you can just not use them again. Yeah. But if you have a scroll of Revivify or a spell that brings them back to life, you can do that.
And can you do that at any time? It could be hours later and you can bring them back to life?
I don't know. Okay. I want to say yeah, okay. As long as you walk back to the body.
Oh, okay. It's not like you carry their body around with you.
Because, I mean, I've gone a long way away from someone and come back, and the bodies that I fought 15 hours ago are still there.
Nice.
But
they're supposed to flash and then turn invisible.
I don't know. Yeah. But I don't know. If any one of my characters died, I brought them back. But the thing is, a big part of this game is you can shove people into like
traps and stuff,
or off a cliff or whatever. And so I was in this fight. I kicked everyone's ass. There was only one little guy left, and he runs up and pushes one of my characters into the abyss, and I can't revivify them, and their thing disappeared from the screen altogether. I can't like float them back up. They just disappeared into the digital space. Yep. There's nowhere.
There's no way
I can't walk down there. I was like, holy shit!
There's got to be another way. Like if you talk to a different swamp hag, one with a more agreeable tone.
I don't know if I could just because when I've done the revivify scroll, I point at their body, and it brings them back. But if they're at the bottom of that hole, it's not like it brings them back and they just float. If there's a way to do it, I don't know. But I think if they fall down a cliff and they're gone, like you can't reach them, they're just permanently dead. Wow.
Can you recruit other people to join your party then?
Yeah, I mean, as long as I have enough companions, they can just fill out the spots or whatever. But it was my most important companion. It was my healer. I was like, no. Now I have to reload and do this whole fight over again because I'm not losing this chick. Yeah. Oh. And I started romancing one of my companions. Oh? Yeah. Yeah? It's the pretty elf chick, of course it is. But the demon chick, who's really buff, she's kind of hot, too.
Who's the yellow one with the no nose? or it's like a tiny nose and it's up real high. Kind of looks like a bug person.
Lizelle. She's a Githyanki. She was the race that was used by the Mind Flayers as slaves, but then the Githyanki revolted and fought against it, and they also ride in red dragons. It doesn't really matter, nerd stuff.
Yeah, it's a funny name.
This game is super fucking horny. Like
Yeah.
every one of your companions wants to fuck you at all times, and they always kind of like drop little hints, and you can just be like, no, like consent's important. If you go, hey, you're really just a friend. Hey man, no problem. But everyone's kind of like, well, if you want to step aside later and just speak by the leg, we can do that. Or if I was kind of mean to one of them, I'm just, sorry, I didn't want to come off too strong. I really hope we get some more alone time later. It always gives me that option. Like, my character wants to fuck everybody. I don't, but this game wants you to fuck.
Yeah.
So anyway,
I've seen a lot of videos of characters being like, "Oh, I think I like you." I'm like, really? I like you too. And then it cuts by the first one, like, really? Okay, I actually really, really like you.
Yeah.
Well, awesome.
Yeah, it's tons of fun.
Okay. Well, I'm look forward to next week's update.
Yeah.
Now let's get to our main topic. No One Will Save You on Hulu, or the acronym is NOWSY. I love a stupid acronym. So this is the story of girl. I don't remember her name. I know it's shown a million times. Bryn. And
Bryn Adams.
Bryn Adams, and her friend was. Hold on. It's like a Bianca or a Mocha or a.
You're closer with Mocha.
Yeah.
It's Maud Collins.
Maud, yeah. Anywho.
I'm so bad at remembering people's names in movies, I can't believe it. I think they must have shown it a bunch of times. They did.
So
it's ingrained in my brain.
Yeah. So Bryn lives alone in a house. Her mom's dead. Her best friend's dead. And she seems to have her own business making clothes. And she's obsessed with...
Oh, is that what it was?
Yeah, she was sewing that dress and then she packaged it up and dropped it in. I think she just has like an Etsy shop or something.
Oh, okay.
And then she collects little Christmas houses. Like some guys collect trains or build train sets. She has her own little town of Christmas-themed houses. And she's kind of the town pariah. Nobody talks to her. They don't wave to her. They spit in her face when they see her. And so she's just by herself all the time. And then a boogin comes and breaks into her house.
A boogin?
A boogin, yep.
Okay.
And an alien breaks into her house. It's pretty much, it's Signs meets Hush, is how I put it. Because Hush, she's deaf, she can't hear. There's not a lot of dialogue here. It's a home invasion story, but it's also with aliens. A lot of like interesting camera work to keep it a mystery. Like when they're looking under the door in Signs, and the hand comes out. Very similar, I think, in tone. And they don't say anything in this movie except for one line, and they say it twice. It's either "I'm sorry" or "I'm so sorry," and they say it twice, and nothing else is said.
Oh, I don't even remember them. When did they say that?
When she's having after the alien puts his little deposit in her, and she sees her friend, and inside her mind, but she realizes that it is all fake, and she says I'm sorry to her friend because of the thing she did in the past, but then she says it again, reaches down her throat and pulls out the Gubin.
I missed that because I was waiting for a line of dialogue to show up because I only picked up the line of dialogue of this doesn't really play into anything we're about to talk about, but she picks up the phone and it just says, "You fuck it," and then she hangs it up real quick.
Oh,
so I was like, I guess that maybe counts.
I forgot about that. But yeah, because they do not tell you why everybody hates her so much. And I knew it had something to do with her killing the friend. I just wish it was more than she picked up a rock and hit her. If she pushed her and she hit her head on a rock, that's...
Well, I mean, I think... we're jumping right to the end, but let's get right to the end. So, through a series of hilarious events, she's able to sort of relive her past in her mind's eye or whatever. And you see what happened. And her friend pushes her because they're in some sort of childhood argument. Yeah. And she's so angry she picks up a rock and kind of swings it and instantly kills her friend with a rock. Which, from my parent is a cop and small town, you could say like, oh, well, this was murder. This girl committed a murder.
It was an accident.
We don't know if she, went to jail or whatever.
Yeah,
or,
I would assume no. I would assume that like she was able to plead her case that this was just an accident. It was a fight. It was a mistake.
But yeah, the whole town is just no. This little girl.
She killed her best friend, and she
yeah.
must be the worst.
Yeah.
And then her mom is dead as well, but we don't know how she died, do we?
I think it was
cancer or something.
Yeah.
See, if they were in a fight. Well, because at first I thought the fight was just like a playful friend sort of thing, but if it was, a little more heated, and they're pushing each other, she pushes her, she falls back into a river and gets swept away, never to be seen again.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know. I think that makes more sense than her picking up a rock, and because we don't hear what they're arguing about, that feels just too extreme for her a friend to pick up a rock and smash their friend's head in. Yeah, that's one of my one nitpick of this movie. I don't really love the reason why she's a pariah, because I love this movie.
I'm sure you did.
I thought this was a whole lot of fun. It's very spooky and kind of silly at times too. When the alien's walking around on his little toes at the beginning, adorable. It's pretty goofy. But then when you start getting weird monkey ones and ones doing airplane signals with its arms, it gets really freaky.
Yeah, my complaint. I mean, I enjoyed this movie. It was because it came out of nowhere. I saw the trailer last week, I think. Didn't know anything about it, and I love small movies like this, where just especially movies where limited dialogue. I think this movie could have benefited from some dialogue, but I appreciated what it tried to do. Because when you're by yourself, you're not talking out loud. There's no reason for you to. I mean, sometimes you do, and you stub your tongue, and you're like, "Oh, fuck you, shitty chair," or whatever.
There is enough of that. Like, she'll see something, and there'll be the exasperated. Oh god! Like, you could tell she wants to say "Oh, god damn it," but she's by herself, so she just. Oh, god.
Yeah, I'm not saying it seems silly or unrealistic. I'm just saying, but that's what it is.
In a normal movie, she would be like, "Jesus Christ, I gotta get away from these things."
Or there'd be a cat, and she'd always just be talking to her cat, which normal people do.
Sure. Talk to my cat all the time.
Yeah, but it makes sense that she wouldn't need to talk, or there's no one to talk to, so why would she say anything? But anywho, my one major complaint with this movie is I wish it's kind of. I dislike it, but I also appreciate what they did with it. Was I didn't love that the aliens were just your standard. Great. It's the same alien we've seen a million times. Yeah. And I'm surprised that there wasn't any build. Like, this movie, 5 minutes of setup, and then boom, alien's there. Yeah. And not only is there, you see the full alien immediately. Yeah. There's no wasted time, pretty much.
Pretty quickly, yeah.
So it's just it's that alien. It's the gray alien with a big head and black eyes. Yeah. But I appreciated that they said, well, that's your standard one. Now we're going to give you that version, but now it's a tinier one, and it's more feral, and it's like the attack dog. Yeah. And there's also the tall spider one that is just there to do air traffic control, I guess.
It's the attack elephant spider? I don't know.
So I didn't love the fact that they kept the original creature design. I did appreciate it that they said, well, we're just going to keep the head but just do weird shit with the body for some other ones. Like, there's other aliens that fit in this world and have different purposes, but how they function in the society, like, is a tall spider one like the moms? Or are they androgynous?
Are they subspecies? Yeah. The normal grays, that's the people, and like you said, that's the attack dog, and then that other thing, it's just like an idiot.
Are they all equals in society, or some of them slaves? And none of that is necessarily important. It's just not. Look a weird creature.
But I want to know more. Yeah. And you think if they're going to go, let's have typical gray aliens. Oh, but we also want ones with really long limbs. Like, okay, there could be subspecies within it. That's fine. Well, we also want them to have a weird throaty sort of speaking. Like, okay, that could work for the greys too. Oh, we also want them to be able to hawk up these giant strawberries with cum tentacles and shove them into people's mouths. I'm like, oh, that's a weird parasitic thing that I wouldn't associate with the Greys. The Greys always seemed very scientific and always looking for knowledge, and these guys seemed a little more brutal, a little more monstery. So I think maybe a design change would have worked better.
Yeah. And because it's so thin on story. Like, story isn't so important in this.
No.
It's just more about the survival aspect, I guess.
Mhm.
Because it also makes me question. So the strawberry with tentacles. Now, from the context of the movie, it seems like the aliens are willing to, like, they're the ones controlling it. They're spitting it up, regurgitating it, so that you can join the hive mind or whatever. Then I thought, it's like, could it be that the strawberry tentacle thing infiltrated their bodies and is now using them to travel? And it's like, okay, and this is a second one.
It reproduces within its throat.
Yeah.
And absolutely.
So but anyway.
That's a kind of a cool explanation of, like, well, I don't associate the Greys being maybe like this. They weren't.
Because that thing looks like all the other, so different from the other things.
Yeah.
Which, if you look inside the human body, it doesn't look like anything.
You pull out our tongue and go, that comes from that?
Yeah.
That's disgusting.
Our heart looks, whatever. But the majority of this movie is her kind of doing a Home Alone, and
I wouldn't say Home. She doesn't do a lot of traps. Just at the very end, she
does prep with home. Stuff.
She gets, like, the first thing she grabs is just like a hair curler, because she's not a person who would have any sort of weapons. She does have a box cutter, a pair of scissors, and then she boils a couple pots of water. That's it. She doesn't put any tripwires or micro machines down or paint cans on ropes. She does the best of what she's got, and what she has is pretty much jack shit. So I don't think Home Alone's the best thing.
I just don't know what else to describe it because
a different home invasion movie.
Yeah. I guess because I mean it's not like about her doing action stuff, because it's not really an action movie, but she does hold her own, which is pretty impressive.
I mean, she kills 3 different types of aliens.
Because it doesn't seem like any other humans. I mean, obviously you get a wide shot and you see other floating spaceships and you see things going on in the distance, and you don't know what that is. But from the context of what we've seen in the movie, it just seems like, all the humans in this town were immediately taken over.
Within a few nights. It happened real quick.
With like 2 nights that the town was taken over. And you don't see any other sort of resistance. You don't see other alien bodies littered to the ground or anything. I mean, they clean up after themselves, it seems like. But she's able to take down 3 of them?
Yeah.
4?
Stab one in the head, 1 through the shoulder, the monkey one, blows one up in a car, which wasn't my favorite. I think that's it.
Yeah. And then the I don't know, did she kill? I know she pulls the thing out.
She pulls it out, but
I think it crawls away. She might have killed that one zombie dude with the beam thing. Sure. I know it like breaks its back, so it's like still kind of alive, but I'm going to count that.
Okay. She kills 4 things and a parasite, maybe. Oh, no, because if they beam it up.
Yeah.
Yeah, she doesn't kill it, though. She pulls it out, it crawls away, they beam it up, and then they grab her with the tractor beam.
Right. Whatever, it doesn't matter. But I think visually, very well done. I think direction-wise, it was really good. Writing, very limited, because like you said, there's no dialogue, but I think it was structured well enough to keep it quick. And this movie was an hour and 33 minutes, I think. Gave you just enough detail to keep you interested and intrigued about like what this girl's story is. Although I agree the reveal's kind of a letdown. And I'll say that, eventually she gets to the end and she gets beamed up into the spaceship. And I think all that was very visually interesting in terms of her looking out and them all just kind of, I guess, experimenting on her. But you don't see them do anything other than just have her in this light coffin. But I love that the ceiling was some sort of, I guess, communication device or something. I guess I don't know, but it had like a star look to it. That was kind of cool. Just an interesting design choice. But I think my least favorite thing about it is we see you've suffered enough, so you're free to go.
Kind of like living in a weird body snatcher world. I love that. I think it's a great game.
I like that ending where it goes, well, no, I don't need to join your thing. I'll just sign me up. It sounds good. I don't need to be a pariah anymore.
I'm sure all these people fought and
they didn't agree to be part of the alien thing.
But you see, I would benefit from this.
I think that could have been played better if I was more invested in her story and her outcastness and if her backstory was a little bit more tragic, and maybe there was a scene where she broke down, or like when she's in that sort of realm of in her memories, if there was like some stuff that like really hit me emotionally and just goes like, oh no, this would be good, or the aliens telepathically, there just need to be something a little bit more for me to go like, I mean, I get why she joined, but I don't know. I wanted something else there. I don't know if it would have benefited from just another scene or from some dialogue or just a deeper backstory. I think the ending is the weakest part of the movie, but everything in the middle, well, I guess the first hour of it, I thought was really, really well done. I think my favorite bit is the second alien is in her house and she's under the table and something falls and she looks that way and she turns back and it's just like sitting in, not, like a,
cross-legged? Or
no, I was gonna whatever. It's just like sitting there staring at her. I thought that was really effective. I like that.
Yeah, and when she's going down the hallway, it like just stops at the end of the hallway and like puts its arms up in a weird shape, and then as she's slowly closing the door, like you can see it jump up.
Can you say it again?
Shut up! And it just starts like monkeying down the thing. I want to show you this. This is an actual part of the script for that. So it's when she's pulling out the thing is going into her mouth or whatever. But it's just to like give you an idea of how, the mindset of this character and how all scripts they're just so clean, and this is just giving you so much panic, so much chaos. It's a real fun page. I'll post it probably when I put this up. I'll put this on the Instagram or something, because it's just a real fun thing to do, to really show.
I think if I was a producer, I'd be like, oh, this is so pretentious. But I get it. That's fun.
My favorite thing is the sound design.
Oh, yeah. Sound design's great.
Bone crack, arms clacking around, and the little gurgling in the throat, and the sounds of the ships, just like tons of bass and weird sounds of the lights coming through the window. Especially when you have no dialogue, you really do need a great sound design. And you can hear every little like breath that she's taking and creak of the floorboard. It did kind of bug me when she like took her slippers off to be more quiet. You hit a creaky floorboard, it's going to creak regardless if you have it or not. And now you're barefoot with an alien in your house. Keep your slippers on, lady.
One note I have, and I know it's alien technology. Who gives a shit?
Yeah.
But, so, the tractor beam thing, it blows through her front door. It clearly has some sort of solidified kind of power. If you touch it, it will crush the pan that she's holding, or split the dude in half almost. But there's a scene where she's running from it, and she's running up the stairs. It's just the angles don't make sense to me.
Oh, like how is it getting?
How is that light falling? But it stopped halfway through because it goes, it can't reach it. But it's also 400 feet in the
but I think
it's coming down
and
angling up.
Yeah, I think it is.
The thing it would have crushed all the. It doesn't matter. It's just a nitpick.
If Doomsday's psychovision thing can like take corners and travel across the country, I'm sure these aliens can do it as well.
Sure. But I mean, I really don't have too much negative to say about it. I think this movie would have been a fantastic movie if it came out in like 2012 or like.
Why? Why can't it be a fantastic movie now?
No, let me rephrase that.
Yeah, you better.
I think if this was something like Monsters that came out.
Sure.
I think what year was it? I don't know.
This is yours.
I know. I'm going to say
2007?
I want to say 2010.
Okay. If you had any internet in this basement, I'd look it up.
Yeah, my internet's being weird. Anyway, it's just like this small budget thing that came out of out of Sundance or something like that, and it got bought for $5 million and made $50 million at the box office from an unknown. Like, this would have launched her career. It would have launched the director's career. I mean, this stuff might still, but because this was a Hulu release, I don't think a lot of people, there's not much. I think if this came out a decade ago or so, or maybe a little bit more, it would have had a bigger thing, and more people would be talking about it because, what an interesting concept. But because we've seen things like A Quiet Place and all that stuff, and the fact that it is just streaming services, I think it's lost. I think this could have been much bigger hit had it not had kind of so many things going against it. I think that this movie deserved better than it got, because I think it is a very well executed small indie film in that regard.
It was just called Monster, right?
Monsters.
Monsters. Stupid IMDb, figure it out.
You can look up Scoot McNairy. I know he was the lead.
Yeah, Scoot McNairy. God damn it, Steve. 2010.
I'm good.
Yeah, I don't have any major complaints. I gave this an A-. I love this movie. I can't wait to watch it again. I don't know. I don't have anything really negative to say except for what I've already said.
I'll give it a B plus. I don't think I can give it into the A category. I think it just does everything really well to the point where it's like, I didn't necessarily love it. I don't know if I'll ever watch it again, but I think it's executed well enough to where I'd say it's worth a watch, and it's really good, and so B plus.
Yeah, I think if you like Fire in the Sky or The Fourth Kind or Signs, you should definitely check this out. It's pretty good.
Would you classify it as a horror film, though?
Sci-fi thriller, I'd say.
Yeah.
Because I wouldn't.
I think it's definitely marketed as a horror film.
Yes. And I really
I think that's where people will get disappointed in this movie.
Maybe.
Because it's not scary. I mean, there's, I think, some effective stuff,
mm-hmm.
but I don't think it's scary.
This is like the only thing he's directed, really. I mean, he directed a thing called Spontaneous, but he also wrote 2020's Underwater, Babysitter Killer Queen,
I like the first movie. I don't think I saw the second one.
Second Babysitter is
I know something's bad. The first one I like, though.
First one's good. Love and Monsters, Skull Island, the series, Divergent.
I didn't see Love and Monsters, but
it was fun. I was disappointed with it.
Okay.
But, shit, what was I saying about this, though? What were you saying about this?
You gave it an A. I gave it A minus, and I gave it B plus.
You weren't going to rewatch it.
Yeah, so how much can we really deep dive on this movie? Because there isn't a whole lot here.
There isn't a whole ton. But yeah, if you like spooky alien abduction movies, just add this one too. It's a good time. All right, what's next week? The Creator.
Oh, thank God.
Yeah.
This is
some real fucking food.
I think this will either be the movie I'll say at the end of the year is my favorite of the year, or it'll be my biggest disappointment. Because I'm like, this will be pushing 3 hours. I don't know the runtime, but I'm going to guess it's pushing 3 hours.
I would guess.
And it's going to be either real potential, or like the trailer's going to be fucking great, and it's going to look great, but it's going to be real fucking boring.
Yeah.
Because I do like John David Washington, but all of his acting choices outside of... I mean, I liked him at Black Klansman, but everything else is just kind of like, oh, he's not really fun to watch.
Yep, he's there. Just like his dad. It's 2 hours and 13 minutes.
Let me give you my 5 favorite John David Washington films.
Yeah, I'm sure there's something else as well, but I don't care.
Let me ask you, did you start Wheel of Time Season 2?
Oh yeah, I'm all caught up.
Oh, you're all caught up.
Yeah.
I've only watched the first 2 episodes.
Okay, yeah, I've watched all 6 so far.
3? Maybe it's 3. I watched 3.
It's great. I fucking love it.
Wheel of Time?
Yeah. Cool. And the further you get with characters, it's just like, yeah, I can't wait to see all that.
Everything I've seen from people is just Season 2 far exceeds Season 1. They're finally starting to get things right. I will say... Oh,
I love Season 1. I
like Season 1, too.
Obviously, I didn't read the book. I don't care. As someone who didn't read the book, I don't care if they make changes, because this is all new to me. So I love that first season. I thought it was great.
We're not going to talk about Wheel of Time Season 2 until
it's done.
We both finish it.
Yeah.
I will say the one thing I thought was like, oh man, that's real fucking cool.
Mm-hmm.
The armor that the evil guy that has, it's like the scary fish.
Oh, yeah.
Super cool mask. I really like that thing.
Yeah, I will say there are a couple of things that happen in Season 2 that I'm like, who are these people? Like the nail? Have you seen the long nail people? Like, who the fuck are these these people? They're just there, and things get explained more and more. And
I mean, they were just hinted at it's like the very last shot of season 1. You don't have any context, so yeah. But I don't know who they are.
This is a show I have to watch with subtitles. They have way too many weird fucking names. There's too many locations. Everybody's got a first and last name.
We'll talk about it.
I have to have it on, but frickin' the Aes Sedai, the red one with the jawline. You know who I'm talking about, right?
It's not a jawline, it's the cheek line.
That's her jawline. Cheeks are here. It's her jaw. She's got a Batman jaw.
Okay.
Yeah, she's so hard to look at because she's so extreme. She has the perfect face for like a crazy evil witch sorceress, but she's in it a lot, so you have to look at her a lot, and it's hard. But she's a good character. I like her character.
Mean, but okay.
Okay, so next week the creator maybe. I may be doing something next weekend. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. But
maybe we need a week to like really settle and gather our thoughts.
Watch it twice, maybe if it's that good. Yeah. All right. If you want to get in contact with us, we are at WRPLpodcast@gmail.com. We're on TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter. As always, I've been.
And I'm Steve.
And keep consuming.